Good day, class. This is our uh, new topic and a new course or subject in your major course in agribusiness management. This is the beginning or the starting point of our uh, lecture in uh, agribusiness or AMGT 212, which is Advanced Agribusiness Management. Now, this class will uh, make a quick tour on the dimensions and characteristics of agribusiness, and also uh, expose you a little bit on the four or the five sectors or the five subsystems of agribusiness, until finally we uh, focus more fully in terms of the uh, 3 quarters of the remaining time on some advanced topic that relates to agribusiness. No? So this course, which is Advanced Agribusiness Management, is actually an extension of your basic course in agribusiness from your undergrad. For some of you taking up agribusiness, it's from where we from where we left in agribusiness introduction to agribusiness. This is the beginning also. Although there's some kind of a quick review of the, the material, but more or less we tackle on the intermediate topic more and more as we cascade along the course of this particular subject. So all materials and all say class policies are also downloaded in your email, so that feel free to browse them through and be guided in terms of our journey on this particular subject, advanced agribusiness management. Now, in advanced agribusiness management, we will be talking about 5 modules here, and the first module is on introductory part. The rest of the module will be treating on from intermediate to advanced agribusiness uh, issues. No? So yours truly will be handling this course uh, now, but I have my junior professor, uh, Mr. Gideoniel Tan. He's also a graduate of the Masters in Agribusiness Management and Entrepreneurship, and in the same institution where I also finished my PhD. So, in times of my absence, Mr. Tan will also be my reliever in the course. Now, firstly, as an introduction, uh, there is that notional thinking or notional, say, concept that agriculture is rather garbled and systematically for activities outside the realm of agricultural production. Okay, in other words, if this is agricultural production, there are a lot of other things that actually also is trying to provide an influencing and intervening factors to the realm of agricultural production. But rather, these different factors outside of production actually defines the real boundaries of agribusiness, because agriculture this time is not merely what production, because there are a whole gamut of factors that affects agricultural production, and that exactly is what we call as agribusiness. Okay, so agribusiness leads the way in finding for a different trajectory of agriculture. In other words, the direction, the scope, and the depth of agriculture is actually defined by agribusiness. Okay? In other words, open space of concept, open space concept on agribusiness, including those that are mythical nature, and clarifies all the whole argument at the end of the section by emphasizing that agribusiness is more than just agricultural production, but encompasses a lot of other related functions in the entire spectrum of the economy. So take note, agribusiness is not just agricultural production. Although it's a vital part, but that's not the whole thing. If you're looking at an elephant, if you're describing an elephant, agricultural production is just part of the maybe trunk, maybe the body, but it's not the whole elephant. The whole elephant is many other parts yet to be discovered. So it's agribusiness that defines the depth, the breadth, and the scope of agricultural production. Okay. Agribusiness are business and manufacturing activities. That's basically it. No? Now, it's in terms of scope, in terms of coverage, it covers or it involves. So, number one, supplying inputs needed for farming, marketing of products grown on farms. It includes provision of all goods and services produced farm commodities and get them to the consumer. Okay, you have agribusiness, production of supplies needed for agricultural production. As soon as you produce something, you have to either market this or process this. Still part of agribusiness. And then if you process this, convert this into high value adding products, then serve the needs of your customer. Because it's the needs of your customer that defines the way you transform agricultural product, either as fresh, as semi-processed, or processed product. Now, this definition implies interdependence or blend. It's a blend between agriculture and related business. Inputs includes items used by farmers such as fertilizer, insurance or seed, power, fuel, feed, and financing. Then it goes to the whole mix of input to produce something, and then after producing, you have an output, then sell to relevant markets. Now, marketing includes the functions in converting farm commodities into desired form. Okay? In other words, it's marketing that dictates how the product, the commodities are transformed into desired form, format, or variety. For example, vegetable crops are often processed, meat of animals are slaughtered and made into desired cuts, or you have desired, preparations or products, and milk is processed into a lot of other type of products. Some of the functions involved in marketing include grading, storing, processing, packaging, transporting, pricing, and merchandising. These are all these are all the different functions that actually transforms agricultural production, which is now fast becoming the dynamic coverage or scope of agribusiness. Now, from the definition or from the pioneers of agribusiness in the Philippines, it came to the Philippines in 1957, or it was discovered rather, it was incepted, it was advocated as a discipline, as a profession in Harvard University in 1957 by Davis and Ray Goldberg. And it was introduced in the Philippines 10 years after. 10 years after, and then after a few years, after 3 years, there was this Advanced Agribusiness Management Seminar in Manila. And that all, the rest is history, and that all is the starting point of agribusiness in the Philippines. Now, from Ray Goldberg and Davis, no definition. If I read the definition, but it can be subdivided into different parts. Agribusiness can be defined as the sum total of all operation, involved in the manufacture and distribution of farm supplies or farm inputs, production activities on the farm, storage of the product for the market, processing and distribution. Okay, you process and distribute to relevant markets of farm commodities and items made from them. In other words, as you manufacture and distribute inputs or farm supplies, you produce something and then either you store it and sell it to relevant market, or you process it for more value addition, and that you distribute it again to your relevant customers and other items made from. That's the definition from uh, Davis and Goldberg in 1957. And true enough, that actually delineates the various parts of agribusiness. Okay, agribusiness also is not just an activity along the whole value chain, but it's also a system. It has undergone a rapid transformation as new industries have evolved and traditional farming operations have grown larger and more specialized. Okay, so that's how agribusiness influence agricultural production. So it's actually uh, uh, dictates how these activities are diversified and reach to a distant market. It traverses even transnational boundaries. In other words, agribusiness also dictates how products are distributed either locally or internationally. That's one thing. No? The other thing is because of dynamic, ever-changing taste and preference of customers, again, agribusiness is kind of uh, cascading or restructuring in terms of emphasis. And now, because of very fast and very innovative technology that we have, agribusiness is facing a new challenge in terms of disruptive technologies. Disruptive, I mean, it's an abrupt change of consumption, abrupt change of distribution, and abrupt change of production. That is now the new normal in the whole gamut of activities in agribusiness. But above all this, agribusiness remains to be innovation based and market driven. Its base Innovation is based on customers' preference, and customers' preference is actually the one dictating how the products are really going to uh, uh, how products are actually going to be structured, and of course the growing expansive part of agribusiness. Now, from Ray Davis and from Ray Goldberg and Davis, okay, it actually, as we have said, actually is not agribusiness is not a static discipline. In 2005, Edwards and Schultz rather, advocated what we call as a sustainable orchestration of agribusiness. Why? Sustainability comes into the picture of a growing and expanding agribusiness. Why was it important to do that? Because during that uh, second or in the next millennial age, there was already a concern of how we are going to arrest the fast dwindling resource in the global global picture. In other words, there is a global issue in terms of sustainability, so that in order to provide the needs or the market of the current generation and still able to serve the needs of the customers in the future generation, agribusiness needs to be sustainable. Okay, the millennial age or the millennium, the second millennium actually evolved as a dynamic and systemic endeavor to serve the customers or consumers globally. There's a need. There's a fast dwindling of resource, And of course, there is what we call as fast changing climate, and it is going to challenge the existing value chain. So that by that alone, according to Edwards and Schultz, it is necessary that agribusiness needs to be seen from the vantage point of sustainability. Now, agribusiness has various dimensions also. One is agribusiness deals with different components, both agricultural and industrial sector. It's actually overlapping boundaries. Not only that is a component of agricultural and industrial sector, agribusiness also deals with decision-making process of the farm, either private or government related. Okay, so there is decision making. There is that trying to be at the cutting edge of uh, the changing market. It also agribusiness also deals with strength and weaknesses of a project, and by thereby the variability competing of the competing enterprise. In other words, agribusiness is also looking at what are the trade-offs and opportunities existing, so that by looking at that, you will examine which one is which one is the strength, which one is the weakness. The weakness uncovers, challenges. The weakness uncovers threats, for example, while the strength will also uncover opportunities. Agribusiness is always market oriented. Remember the dimension, it involves or deals with different components, agricultural, industrial. It also deals with decision making. Okay, and of course, it deals with strength and weaknesses. Now, the various these various dimensions are as follows. Generally, agribusiness is vertical and it comprises the following. Vertical in structure, it comprises the following: government policies, research and extension programs, farm supplies or inputs, agricultural production, and processing. So that's the whole specific dimension of agribusiness. Okay? The greatest driver though in agribusiness, into of today's agribusiness, is the fast evolving and changing global market. That's the challenge really this time. Because of free flowing of information, each one influence the other. Now it will trigger a ever-changing consumer taste and preference. And that is the new normal for today. So you have to be very quick. Traditionalist entrepreneur has no part in an ever-changing the ever-changing fundamentals of agribusiness. Remember, the fundamentals are the same, but tradition already has changed a lot. But the fundamentals of agribusiness remains the same. What are some of the specific fundamentals? It should be market driven. Okay, it should be based on taste and preference of customers. And what else? Agribusiness through the years should be innovation based. It cannot do something without some basis on informed research and extension. That also defines innovation. And of course, uh, you have market that defines the needs of the customers. Okay, from other authors, if they are going to challenge them, what is the definition of innovation? You, class, what do you think is the shortest definition of innovation? When will a technology or product becomes an innovation? Think of it. No? But MIT or from Harvard University defines innovation as technology plus benefits. I'll say that again. Technology plus benefits equals innovation. If there is the technology, though how good it is, though how sharp it is, though how novel it is, but if there are no defined benefits about it, then it's not yet innovation. So what does it mean? If you say you have to have a well-defined benefit, in other words, it's serving the clientele's intended needs or serving the needs of the customers. If it's if it is not serving the needs of the customers, then it remains what? A technology and worthy to be shelved in the cabinet. So where is agribusiness there? Agribusiness is the one that catalyzes consumer taste and preference and will unlock the market potential and benefits of a particular product. Then and only then the product which is a compact representation of technology becomes beneficial, and that product let alone becomes an innovation. Okay? Let alone becomes an innovation. In other words, in simplistic term, kung walay market, dili na pa na siya innovation. If it is still in the proof of concept, it does not actually perceptible, say, benefits, it's not yet innovation. It's still in the drawing board. Okay? So in other words, the agribusiness defines where in the value chain, well, an innovation-based and also market-driven agribusiness should go. Okay. Now, in terms of characteristics of agribusiness, you have this uh, Venn diagram, if we may call it. Yeah, you have somewhere at the center is the agribusiness system or sector, but it is composed of the agriculture sector, in manufacturing sector, and the service sector. So the confluence or triangulation of all these three very important sectors comprises the scope of agribusiness. So from this diagram alone, you will know that agribusiness is not simply agriculture. There is processing or manufacturing. There is also service. No? So agribusiness deals with agricultural sector, of course, and also agribusiness deals is linked also with the industrial sector through an independent backward and forward linkages. Okay. Now, structurally, from the looks of that diagram, agribusiness comes in five different components or subsystem. One is the farm input sector, the product input sector, the processing, the marketing, and of course, what from the definition of Ray Goldberg, you have to have the facilitating or the service sector that binds them all together and is responsible for the normal functioning of each and every segment or connections in the entire agribusiness systems continuum. For example, financing. Financing is not only keeping the gears and functioning of the production sector, it also affects input sector, it also affects marketing, it also affects or make the normal functioning of the processing subsector as normal, as real as it should be. Okay? So the fundamentals of agribusiness is from the definitions of from the Ray Goldberg up to the definitions of Edwards and Schultz. There are other authors that put another overlay into the definition, but that is normal. And that's how agribusiness is not a standard, is not a stagnant field of study or discipline. It is a very dynamic. In other words, it's not traditionalistic, but it remains fundamentalist. Remember, it's not traditionalistic because it keeps on changing, but the fundamentals are the same. Market driven. Okay, it's also uh, uh, market driven and innovation based. Okay, innovation based, and of course, agribusiness is actually customer focused. Well, that's also part of market orientation or say market driven. Without that fundamental, agribusiness becomes a murky piece of discipline. Okay? It's not dynamic, but since the characteristic of agribusiness is dynamic, it keeps on changing to address the needs of customers now and in the future. Okay. From the structural point of view, agribusiness is composed of various interrelated components. The core essence of entrepreneurial characteristics of agribusiness is actually the production sector. Now, in agribusiness also, we have the different coordinators. These are the agribusiness managers, government officers, innovation managers, and so on and so forth. No? Even the financial services provider, even the other, uh, say for example, players in the market. These are all the market coordinators. Without them, agribusiness functioning is a very dull and boring, like a piece of activity. The market keeps on stimulating the agribusiness system, and it makes agribusiness function normally and able to serve its customer. Due to an expanding or highly evolved market across transnational boundaries, agribusiness is actually now becoming global. It's not only a vertical alignment of various functions, but it also becomes a network of players in the global value chain of agribusiness. So, with that note, class, that somehow provides us a, uh, a conceptual introduction of our lesson in agribusiness management. Remember, this introductory part of the lesson actually encapsulates the lecture in your undergrad into about maybe 27 or 30 slides, which I have just lectured. Agribusiness from Ray Goldberg, or from Goldberg and Davis and Goldberg definition, up to the Schultz definition, Edward and Schultz, agribusiness has really evolved a lot. The earlier tradition of Davis and Goldberg has changed and has kept on changing, and has also assumed a different image. It looks different as of yet, but as we have said, the fundamentals are the same. Let me repeat that. The fundamentals of agribusiness: innovation based and market driven. So don't think about you're doing agribusiness applicable maybe a couple of years ago, but it might not be applicable this time. But the fact remains that though how much transformation you have undergone, the fact remains that it is market driven. You're doing that for the market, and you're doing that because the market really stimulated the 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 manufacturing, or the way agribusiness is packaged, and how it how it is innovated to serve the needs of the customer better. So I will pause up to this time, and I will see you in my next face-to-face lecture next meeting. Thank you, and have a good day.